Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wired for Wonder. My name is Lori Kirkland. I'm with DeepHumanX, and here we are going to explore with leaders what does the future of work look like? What are the areas that we need to consider as leaders and be thinking about as AI is disrupting and changing the way everybody is working? I'm excited today to have a big thinker with me. Omar Jamal is the CEO of Atlas. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Lori. Super excited for today.
So, just so the audience has a little idea who you are, Omer, why don't you give us a little bit of a brief history of kind of who you are and maybe what you're most passionate about these days.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm super passionate about artificial intelligence, right? I've been in AI since 2017 now. I've exited two software companies in the space. And right now I'm building Atlas, which is really designed to be the performance layer on top of your sales and marketing engine for service-based businesses. So it's like an AI revenue engine that clones your revenue team. So I love using technology to find inefficiencies with problems, and I'm all about just working with good people to helping them grow their businesses.
Okay, I love that. One, so exciting. And were those exits lucrative exits where you left a company that was sold or?
Yeah, no, it was at a personal front, it was quite lucrative. I kind of tried to shut off, travel the world a little bit, got married, but then this chat GPT thing came about and I kind of just got bored hanging out at the beach all day. So I decided to get my feet back in the game and get started here again because you could only do so much, right? What do you do with your time when you spend 6, 7 months traveling? You decide your mind needs something to do.
Well, I love that. And that's actually the topic of when I think about what Deep Human X is about is we're really around like, look, we are in a changing world and the future of work is going to look differently. And one of the things that is a ripe opportunity for disruption is actually how we as humans relate to work, right? Like you talked about, oh, you need something to do. Like, yes, everybody wants a break. We all would be really good at vacationing. But even after vacationing, what you just talked about was, right, hey, I need something else. I need a purpose in my life. I need a direction to go to. Is that kind of what you were saying, or did I just completely
No,
translate it
no.
into that?
No, you're spot on. You're spot on. I'm really built to serve, and that's something that I have a mentality of doing for the longest time. And I have a big purpose, which is helping 10,000 kids go to school. So you always need something external. That's human beings. We're wired that way. We need something external to serve. It can't be about you. And it's one of those things that without that, your brain starts getting all wonky, and you just don't get things done. So any successful leader that I know, and believe me, I know lots of them, they always have a purpose and something to drive forward towards. And that's why I'm super excited about your mission here with Deep Human X, Lori, that it digs into a human psyche, so to speak, and you need that purpose. So that's mine.
Well, you do. And can you share with us, since you have a lot of leader friends, are those people motivated by money only? Because that's what it, right? We see in the headlines. That's what it feels like when you work at a corporation is that it's, oh no, the leaders are just fine with working for money only. Do you find that to be true or not true?
Not true at all. I think the most successful people that I know, which even are some billionaires, they just look at money as a scorecard, right? They to them it's just like a game that they're sort of playing, but they're not motivated by money. They almost always have some sort of a legacy that they kind of want to push forward in their life and have a purpose in life that drives most of their actions, and that's why they do most of those things. And it's always whether it's to serve their own family, whether it's to serve their own community, whether it's to, it could be anything, right? Everybody has a personal purpose in life, and your soul is meant to be on this earth to drive that purpose forward. So it's about finding that and being super curious about actually actioning those things to make it a reality in life. So to answer your question, no, absolutely not. I have not seen any successful person just chasing money 24/7. It just doesn't
Well,
work.
I mean, I think that's like a real myth buster, especially here in the US, right? Where it's you should be lucky to have a job. And that's kind of what it feels like. And people, I just came from a large Fortune 500 where like people feel like their transaction and like it doesn't really matter if I show up or not. And it's like this moving, but it's like this sorrow from sorrow to sorrow instead of what I see in you right now, which is a spark of like, hey, I get up and work to help 10,000 kids. I mean, that is like, that is a reason to get out of bed in the morning, not like, oh, great, I get to go sit in 8 hours of back to back meetings with no breaks.
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. Thank you for that. It took me a lot of work to get there, but you're right.
No, well, let me talk to you about that. So part of what we do at DeepHumanX is we really look at the human operating system. So in the time of AI, right, the tech is, anyone who's been in tech understands that actually AI is not actually new technology. It's just like the promise of many, many evolutions of the past finally coming together. But what is different is the opportunities that it's creating, right? Like the possibilities of what could be done, in my point of view, are like endless. But what is ripe for change is how we as humans, one, relate to work, which I love that you found your purpose, but also that we like internally let ourselves start like playing the game of like, hey, this is my life. It's not just for an organization. It's not just for money or paycheck. It's for something bigger. And by using the human operating system, we really like to do some hacks of like, how do you get left brain, right brain thinking going, right? So that you can kind of tap into what is natural already in you as a human being, tools
Mhm.
you already have to help you make the shift, right? To help kind of leaders cut through that. So if I were to ask you, what do you think was something in this journey that you took, right? What do you think was a defining moment for you that helped you see your work differently, your life differently? Like, what is something that was like an aha moment that came to you?
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. For sure. That's a great question, Lori. And, I'd say self awareness, right? Just actually truly understanding who you are as a person and what you say and how that impacts other people. I remember having this conversation with a mentor of mine about 10 years ago. And he said something to me that stuck by me. It's, if you and I are having this conversation, obviously there's my perspective, there's your perspective. But now, if we had a third person in this room just watching us, how would they take a look at this conversation from a bird's eye view? Right? So it's like true mastery of self is actually being able to look at that third person and see, observe yourself, so to speak, in terms of what your words and actions and the root cause of that towards people. So to me, self awareness is huge. And one of the toolkits that you have in your toolbox to actually implement or actually action self awareness is, meditation. Spending some time with the human brain, away from technology, away from sort of the day-to-day nuances of this world. Those 8 back-to-back meetings, because everybody's busy, right? Whether you're an entrepreneur, you're working, or any job, you're extremely busy. So it's super important to detach a little bit from the world. Meditation for me has been a superpower, so to speak, and it's helped me become super super self-aware, and I think it's helped me in every part of my career so far, Lori.
Well, and I love that. Was not, I feel like you just fed me that answer because I'm super aligned with that thinking. But I also interestingly think that it's really about that mind body connect, right? Like we have tools within our human operating system. We have sensors all over our body, not just in our mind of what we're thinking, but somehow our society has really shifted to like thinking left brain logical analytical is the only way of being. But the truth is, like as humans, self-awareness allows you to actually tap into whole different tool sets that actually make humans the most adaptive beings out there, right? Like we have this amazing brain that if you get into nature, like what you talked about, or you get into meditation, you're giving your mind a break from task oriented things, which is really how I see the corporate world run. But then you open up what's called your default mode network. There we go. And that actually only kicks off when you're not task specific. So that's where like things like playing on the beach, going for
Yeah,
a walk in the woods, meditating, right? Where you're like, hey, let me actually check in with what's around me. And you're almost triangulating what you say. You're like you're purposely giving yourself a different, that outsider's perspective, which is so critical.
yeah.
if you were to give advice to leaders in the workplace today, right, about what that observer mindset could do for you, what areas do you think that it could be beneficial in solving just some common work problems?
Yeah, 100%. I think the biggest one it solves for is creativity, right? So when you actually do those things, like for example, like I spent a lot of time in the mountains and in the lakes just by myself, a little bit of solo travel. And I think that little bit of deep thinking allows you to open up your brain in ways when you go see the Canadian Rockies, which are beautiful mountains. It opens up your brains in ways that you just haven't been able to see. So that introspection and that self-awareness leads to beautiful things. But to do that, you do have to go for a walk. You do have to go out in nature. You do have to go spend time out on the beach, wherever it is. You need to spend time a little bit outside, away from your phone. And human beings, I mean, you just said it, that's how we're wired, and that's how we have to be. Like, that's our natural essence of being, so to speak. If you think about humans, right, just like 15 to 20 years ago, today, obviously, you have an iPhone, everything is available there. But if you think, 2000, pre 2008, which is when the iPhone kind of got invented, if you were just at an elevator in a building, most people would not pull out their phone and go tap, 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 just at a busy office building as some company, right? You'd basically be just focused on yourself, catch a minute, take 2 minutes, breathe a little bit, maybe say smile, hello to the people coming in and out of the elevator. Today, 20 years later, you go to the elevator, I can almost guarantee you there's 10 people in an elevator, every single one of them is probably on their phone.
I know, it's like we're robbing ourselves, right? Now, I mean, you got to feel sympathetic because that's the society that we've created. But let's talk about the hack of AI, right? Like a lot of people are looking at AI like, hey, this is another tool to be implemented over here, right?
Yeah,
Even your product, you're talking about it on top of it. But like individually as leaders, like we can use AI right now to free up some of our own like
of course,
productivity and efficiency so that we can go for more walks. Like,
of
why do
course.
you think that leaders are having issues with that? Do you think it's just fear, or do you think you're seeing more people who are actually doing that?
Yeah, a lot of it is fear for sure. AI is the biggest productivity hack that humanity has ever been gifted, and we have to treat it as such. For the first time in history, we have information at our fingertips, right? Any sort of information that you want to learn about, whether it's human psyche to meditation to food recipes, whatever it is you want, AI could do. So business leaders should be utilizing AI to get a 30 to 40% productivity boost like today.
Right.
There's a fear, right? There's a fear that, hey, I don't want to use it. It's not going to be helpful to me. It's going to lie to you. Well, hey, you know what? AI is it going to be more than $1 trillion economy. It's bigger than the internet, and more people are going to utilize it. But the hard part is, Lori, is what we're talking about is like, how do we sort of stay sane? How do we bridge the gap between humanity and AI? And a big part of that is detaching yourself away from the technology, because the way that these big tech is going is they're engraving it in everything. Like I got these glasses which have the Meta AI in them.
Oh,
Right?
really?
You can
You're
sit
so
and you can talk
cool.
to the AI, and I don't do it because it gives you a little bit of a headache, right? But I could take phone calls from this if I want. So I think the way technology is
Oh,
going is,
you can just hit this. You're so
yeah.
cool. I love it.
So you can it's one of those things that big tech is integrating technology with humans more and more, and I think that's part of the reason why we're glued to our screens. But as a society, we have to do a better job, right? 10 minutes in a day, 20 minutes in a day is all we need to just like detach a little
I
bit.
know, like, and that's it. It's just like your body just needs to like breath. It just needs to be like, okay. So you talked about the big tech giants, and so I have this conundrum that always goes back and forth. I am a technologist. I love technology. I am an optimist in life. I feel like technology. I actually think AI could help us solve a lot of issues with humanity, right?
Mhm, mhm.
But that, so I love the big guys, and at the same time I don't like how, right, like OpenAI, that's supposed to be a nonprofit, right, with really good intentions of getting groups together, is now turning into, let's make it more about product and revenue, which
Mhm.
everybody wants to make product and money, or revenue. Like we all can we just say everybody wants that, but now can't is there a way to do that with infusing the humanness in it? And which means that, like, how do we, instead of villainizing the big tech giants, how do we actually work with them, in us as leaders who are, us as leaders who are building companies, how do we work alongside to create other alternatives than just going to the screen alone, right? Like, I don't want to be tied to my laptop all the time.
Yeah.
But how do we even begin doing that?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, and to be honest with you, it's there's no right answer to that question either. But I'll take a stab at it. That to me, it's all about the culture that you develop at organizations. So as a leader that leads a team, and that's sort of been I've been doing that for the last 8 to 10 years. What I find is, whatever the culture of the organization is, it's generally speaking driven by the executives at the firm that you work with. So, from a personal value system, I'm all about take a break, disconnect from technology. To get the freedom it is that you sort of desire, you actually need to spend time with your family, friends, and your loved ones to give you some enjoyment. It's not just about, hey, listen, work hard, but also play hard, right? Because without working hard, business doesn't get done either. So it's hard to strike that balance, Lori, to be quite candid with you. But I think it's all about actually trying to make an effort and finding the right time to do it. So for me and for anybody sort of listening to on the pod over here, what my recommendation is that if you have somewhat of a role where you have reports directing to you, just check in on them. Right? Like, how are they doing at a personal level? It's okay to take 3 hours off and just reset. That's
Yeah.
human behavior. Everybody does that. It's normal. There's so that's humans. I think society has done a bad job where it's turned every human into robots. But
But now we have robots. So
now
like,
we have robots.
doesn't
Now
that
we
put
have
it on
robots.
us as leaders to say, okay, now we have to look at how we're going to shape the organization? Like, yes, some people will just get rid of people and those companies are fine, but there's a whole other slew of us who are like, wait a minute, let's actually use this free time for something awesome,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
something great for humanity. But it does cause the leadership. I like how you said that, from the top down and from the bottom up, but it causes um, leaders to have less than a marketing vision, less than something that sounds nice on paper, and much more of a clear purpose and a clear drive than anything we've seen, at least in the past 20 years,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. It's super critical. It has to come from within the organization itself, 110%.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, and it is top down, but what do you think about the shift of maybe how executive teams and boards, what their role might look like? And this is totally just off the cuff. I know there's no right answer, but what do you think some of the shifts that they might have to be making in the next few years to really step into more of that
Yeah.
purpose driven work and in clear articulation of bigger goals?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So obviously, the priority of a business exists, and I don't think this deviates anything from the priorities of the business itself, which might be meeting your objectives and key responsibilities for everybody that exists out there. To me, I think companies have incorporated wellness programs a decent amount for the last little bit, but I think they need to double down on that even more. Programs is one thing, but people don't take advantage of those programs, right? So to me, it's all about culture. I think leaders have to double down on culture that they're creating in the age of AI, because it's so easy to just get wrapped up in thinking. And it's so easy just to kind of get wrapped up in AI, having conversations with AI.
Totally.
AI is playing the role of therapist for a lot of people, or not, believe it or
It's
not.
the number one use case, right?
It's
It's
the
the
number
number
one
one
use
use
case.
case over
So
the last use. Yeah.
to me, great leadership is followed by great culture. And if your employees and your team members are happy and they're enjoying themselves, so having some sort of sports to participate in, so that athlete-driven mentality is super important. Just taking care of yourself and your body. Without help, nothing exists. Actually participating in a little bit of journaling, a little bit of writing, right? These small nuances are things that I share with my team quite a bit, and we have a writing first culture here. But if there's
Ooh, tell me about that.
yeah, it's we have a writing first culture. Like, you should be able to write out your thoughts, and communication in a remote environment is all written. You have to write things out super clearly. So I've seen people who never wrote before, and now they write clearly exactly what their thoughts are, because everybody has different personalities. Some people are introverts, some people are extroverts. That doesn't make one better than other. Everybody has this strength attached to them. So I'm super big on that. If you have a problem, well, hey, share that problem, but write it out first. Share 3 solutions to it, and then let's pick one of those solutions. So 1-3-1. And I got that from Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time. So it's
Oh
one.
my God, I love that. I'm going to completely steal that, or, at least mimic it, because that's great. And writing is so interesting too, because we talked about the mind body connect, but actually forcing yourself to write down. Like I have this internal thing. I've been an evangelist for tech companies, but for some reason I can talk in front of thousands of people, but I go to write and I get blocked. But I have been really practicing just journaling. And then now for the last year and a half, 2 years, I do it every day. And I'm like, oh my God, it helps get rid of like clutter in your mind that you don't even know. You're like, why am I even spending time on this? Like, logically, I know it's not worth anything, but somehow that writing lets my body know, okay, you've thought about that and you've said it's important or not. Now you can just let that go. So
Yeah.
like actually frees up a lot more of my thinking time for things that I care about.
Exactly. Most conflict or issues that you have, whether that's in a business setting or family or friend setting, can be solved by you just spending 5 minutes, right? Just writing out your own thoughts to make sure to make it seem that as if you make sense to yourself or not first. Right? And
Mhm.
most people don't do that. It's exactly what you said. Every human being has a bunch of clutter in their head, and conflict or problems arise. Your unhappiness arises if you're unable to solve that own clutter in your own head, and it never gets solved without you actually putting out a physical piece of paper or your phone or your some note-taking app, right? And writing down your thought. What frustrates you? What bothers you? What are you angry at? What are you actually frustrated about in that particular situation? Like, write it down, and as if no one's going to see this, crumple it up, throw it away.
Throw it away.
Right?
It doesn't matter.
That
Yeah.
helps so much to get rid of all these inner things that we as all of us humans have. So I've been journaling for the last 10 years, and I highly recommend for anybody to do it, because it's the secret sauce. It's these basic fundamentals that are the secret sauce of
Like,
you know.
oh yeah, this is how this actually makes you as a human happier to do this. So I love that. And tip for the audience, if you haven't yet, like we said, everyone's using AI. It's the number one use case. So if you want to write one of those letters, and then, if you feel like you want to put it into AI, like I have absolutely written, like, here's all my thoughts. And then I put it into AI and I say, what's another perspective?
Yep.
And it's amazing to be like, holy cow, I didn't see how narrow I was down this path. And I
Yep.
missed, just because that, like, the things that were important to me, I went way down here, and it's like been beautiful to get to that bigger perspective. So
Exactly.
I,
Human behavior in general is hard to change, but like you said, AI can be the best sparring partner for you if you have an open mind, and if you're actually willing to listen and adapt to some of the things that it says. It's a wonderful sparring partner to help guide your thinking and guide your thinking in terms of how
yeah,
you could just be better human.
I love that. And being a better human is really what it's about. We're all ready for it. We're all ready. I feel like everybody's ready. I mean, look at all the divide across the world. We're all like, can we just stop the judgment? Can we just stop being mean to each other and like look outside and realize it's sun shining and you're breathing?
Yeah. And
Like
there's
it's one of
beauty
those.
in that. There's beauty in that.
There's beauty in that. There's beauty in that for sure. So at DeepHumanX, we the X stands for the fact that everybody has whatever, each of us has our own X, right? The thing that drives us, the thing that makes us uniquely you. And so at DeepHumanX, we purposely put that in there to say, hey, we think that you have your own purpose or driver in life. If I were to ask you, right, in the business world, what is your X? What's the thing that is really, really driving you?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I answer that question, Lori, I think you're spot on. I think every human being, there's 8 billion of us on here, has some secret sauce in there, right? And they have something in their soul and they have a purpose. That's why
A
they're here.
gift.
It's a gift. More people have to start believing in that gift and trusting their instinct and their intuition to reap the reward, so to speak. So that's a wonderful question. And as far as mine, Lori, I think, I'm still learning mine, to be honest with you. If I'm truly, truly authentic, I think, every 6 months you're a new person and you sort of grow and whatnot. But what I do know is that, I'm an extremely driven individual and I want to make an impact to 10,000 kids to help them go to school. So the how of that, life will figure out for me. But I have to sort of stay true to my mission, stay true to myself and the people around me. And things just seem to work out in its own shape or form. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm driven by. That's my purpose in life. And it's one of those things that if you just do the right things, good things seem to happen.
Okay, so let's have a question about honesty with yourself because you just made me think about that. You said, when I follow, I don't worry about the how. I follow what is my kind of, my North Star, my compass, my,
Yeah.
you know, beacon of light, my lighthouse in the of everything that can happen, of all the possibilities. If you're focused there, then you find that really good things happen to you, right? What happens when you are kind of deviating from that, or you're finding yourself kind of questioning your own integrity about stuff? How does the world show up for you then?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, let's just talk about a few of those things that lead up to that. So, I don't really complain, right? I don't believe in complaining. I'm extremely, extremely positive, right? And I believe in honesty. So, I believe in honest truth to whoever it is that I'm interacting with, whether it's a team member or it's having a conversation with my siblings. So, I think with those pillars in mind and having an extremely growth mindset where you're always trying to find ways of where you went wrong and how you could be better, instead of looking at yourself and or blaming others for things that are happening in your life, taking accountability for it and actually actioning that in your life. A lot of people will take accountability but they don't action stuff in their own life, right?
A good
um,
point.
so you get to a stage once you do that for a number of years that your self-belief and your self-confidence is just like sky high. And you know that you're making the best decision for yourself and those around you. But that trust factor, people start believing in you. People start trusting more in you as well. And things, there's a ripple effect to that is very tangible in life. You could see it. So I think with all that sort of combined, that's how you trust yourself, right?
Mhm.
That trust factor comes from just doing the right things. It's just like practice makes perfect. So there's no secret magical sauce or one line answer to it. It's just doing the right things day in, day out, even if
Well,
you're
I was
having
going
a
to say
bad.
that, like I love that, like the idea of like your micro moments of choice. Like, one is creating a choice for yourself, realizing that you're not a victim. I love your no complain. I'm going to try to adapt that. But right, because it's like when you do take self accountability, then what happens is you're like, okay, I'm being as I'm honoring myself as much as I can in this micro moment of choice, which then compounds and that becomes like easier to do. So when big situations happen, you're like, well, I know I can trust myself. I've got a good track record, right? Like
Exactly.
it
Like
almost naturally builds the trust.
I'm always the first to put the blame on myself. Like, where did I go wrong? And I've just habitually been doing that for the last 10 years. So I already know that I'm doing that. Right. And that doesn't that doesn't mean to say that conflict isn't going to happen. I do get into conflict with my team members, with my family, friends, so to speak. But when you know that you're true to yourself, right? You know that you did the best you can in this situation. Because a lot of listen, people are complicated, right? Human beings, we're complicated creatures. We're not simple. But
Beautiful artistic messes. I love it.
yeah, and there's beauty in that, right? There's beauty in collaboration, moving things forward. But what I always find is that there comes a certain stage in your life when you're super true to yourself, that if you're running into issues with somebody super specific and it's happening all the time, it's if it's not you, it's probably them at that point. You can't do anything at that moment, right? So I think you just have to stay super true to yourself, and good things happen. You cannot control other people. You can only control yourself. And I guess that's my fundamental message, Lori. Right? That don't get stuck in complicating yourself and trying to solve other people's problems and their messes. You have to. Every human being, everybody listening to this pod has to solve those problems themselves internally, and automatically the universe works in a way that your energy aligns with the people that are around you.
And that's so interesting and like such a power statement of you're right, right? Like you get to let go of a lot if you stop trying to control everything around you, right?
Mhm.
If you're like, all right, I got me, I'm going to own this and this is what I can own and I can engage with that person who they may have a problem with me or I cannot. Or I can just simply be like, okay, that's fine. That's happening. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't, I don't have to make a story up to make it mean something about myself. Okay. So I have two more questions for you just to wrap up. In two sentences or less, what do you think the future of work could look like due to AI?
So I think we're going to see 40% productivity from every single human being that exists due to AI. I think everyone is, if you're not using AI, you might be out of a job, right? Human beings are going to spend, just like how we spend more time with the internet today, we're going to spend a lot of time with AI, using these AI tools to have an impact in our life. So I expect about a 40% productivity there.
Nice, nice. Okay, I like that. That's a super hopeful, and I absolutely see that too. Now it's up to us as humans to decide, well, where are we going to become more productive, right?
Yeah,
And that's what's kind of cool about AI is we get to choose where do we want to spend that time that we have now.
exactly.
All right, now my last question for you is what are the top three people skills that you think leaders need to really be developing right now in this time of change to really stay relevant and impactful in their careers? So
Yeah,
three human skills.
yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, be super intellectually curious, right? Read a book or learn stuff. Go out there, get out of your comfort zone, and actually be curious about the world, so to speak. Have passion. Actually care about what it is that you do, right? This means when nobody's watching, think that the cameras are on and still do the right thing, right? You're not cheating the system. Be passionate about what it is, whatever it is that you're doing in this world. Be passionate. And then third work is redefine the definition of hard work. Hard work obviously means putting in the hours. Without that, nothing happens. But give people the time and space that's needed to detach a little bit from technology. A little bit of meditation, a little bit of going out for a walk in the woods is also super productive for your own mental well-being, and that helps you work harder on the job. So be intellectually curious, passionate, and work hard.
I love those answers. Well, Omer, it has been such a pleasure talking with you. You are such a great thinker. And I really appreciate you kind of giving the advice, right? Giving some hacks to people who are like, look, we know we're in a changing world, especially from a leadership perspective, right? We just want to have these conversations and see what successful people like you have done. So I really do appreciate you joining the podcast session today. If our listeners wanted to get in touch with you, where should they reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks a ton for having me on the pod, Lori. It was super fun. Feel free to connect with me personally on LinkedIn, Omar Jamal, or check us out at youratlas.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening and thank you for participating today, Omer. Bye.
Awesome. Bye bye.